Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It is Thursday, October 21st at approximately 1 o'clock. This is the regular meeting of the City Council, the Library and Observatory Board, Housing Authority Board, and the City Council representing the Redevelopment Successor Agency. And our flag salute this morning will be led by Kofi Antabaum, our Director of Administrative Services. Kofi.
Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I thank you. Christy, may we have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Hobart? Present. Councilmember Kite?
Present.
Councilmember Smotrich?
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Townsend?
Here.
Mayor Weil?
Here. The first item on our agenda today is a presentation by Pueblo Unido, and I believe that's going to be handled by Sergio Carranza, Executive Director, and Lorena Gomez, Fund Development and Communications Associate. If you would, please.
Good morning.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon
My
to
name
you.
is Sergio Carranza. I'm Lorena Gomez, representing Pueblo Unido CDC. I would like to thank the City Council of the City of Rancho Mirage for this great opportunity to present to you what we're trying to achieve, mostly when it comes to the Eastern Coachella Valley. Wanted to start by saying that Pueblo Unido CDC is a nonprofit 501c3 corporation, the first CDC, Community Development Corporation, that is providing services to the Eastern Coachella Valley, mainly farm workers communities living in those areas. The nonprofit was established by legendary people who has been working for a long time in the Eastern Coachella Valley to bring better opportunities for families and children, and when it comes to services and building more sustainability for those families. Our mission is to respond to the needs of farm worker communities, and we do this using a collaborative approach. We partner with different institutions, including local government, water districts, private foundations, and other cohorts of different benefactors and donors that are helping us with the mission to bring new resources and to find viable solutions for those communities. Our vision is to definitely to support a more vibrant community, build sustainability, have better opportunity for those families so that we can create a more healthy environment. Here are the challenges that are typically happening in the Eastern Coachella Valley. We still have a lot of issues with substandard housing, mainly where families, farm workers live. We have a lot of issues with water contamination, specifically arsenic and fluoride. We have still substandard sanitation because we don't have adequate, services that are definitely available already in cities for the rest of the Coachella Valley. Because of the arid conditions and the desert condition of the Eastern Coachella Valley, these families are very vulnerable because of the climate change. The conditions actually are very pervasive and also provide this incredible challenge for poor air quality. And that also is tied to the issues happening right now with the Salton Sea, because we are having a lot of dust and a lot of impact coming from those areas that is impacting those communities. We did, in 2009, when we started the work, we started with a community-driven model where we really wanted to, first of all, understand the priorities and concerns of the community. Second of all, we wanted to start developing leadership and have more engagement from the community so that they can help us to better understand and propose viable solutions that are culturally oriented, and consequently, we are kind of responding specifically to the priorities. So this is a typical model where actually projects are presented, concerns are presented, then we actually find solutions. We have a team of engineers and consultants to help us to come out with a plan. Those plans are presented to the community. They give us feedback until we have a solution, and then those projects are implemented. One of the projects that I want to just to mention to you is the San Jose Community Learning Center. There was a need for people to gather and to actually talk to us about what are their concerns, what are their priorities are. This has become the center of gravitation by many farm worker communities, and it's becoming really, really popular for this kind of meetings and other type of activities to build more capacity. Of course, with COVID-19, we have been very careful about this type of gatherings now, and we're doing a virtual type of hybrid situation to continue responding to those concerns. This kind of work that I mentioned briefly lead to actually come out with the most important projects that the community needs, and that is planning for future drinking water project, future sanitation projects. So because the leadership of these communities, the Eastern Coachella Valley has become the very first area in California to come out with a community master plan that involves sanitation, drinking water, and other community economic development activities. One of the things that I want to just to briefly say is that before we actually bring municipal services to those areas, we have many experts here, and that Ryan, the director of public works, we understand that to bring pipelines and water distribution and everything take years, take a lot of investment. So we are already leading 5 main projects for consolidations. But in the meantime, we are actually introducing alternative solutions to provide drinking water through water filtration systems at each mobile homes, at each dwelling unit, so that families have access to these drinking water resources. This has become so successful that it's now officially recognized in the state of California as a viable solution before consolidation is feasible. One other example is that many of these families don't have paved roads. They're still in a very rural environment. So we find opportunities and investment so we can actually improve, road conditions, to have better access and to have better services, and consequently have better air quality conditions for those communities. And the last one is that I want to just briefly mention is that many families over there don't have access to drinking water in school. So this was a really great pilot program to install water filler stations so we can change the culture of how children actually understand the importance to be hydrated and to be more accessible for drinking water. So this pilot program was actually done in the Coachella Valley Unified School District, and also became a model. So it's now recognized by the state of California. So many schools that have problems with lack of this type of devices can apply on an ongoing basis to provide drinking water to children. Our funding is basically coming from the state, federal, and private foundations. That's basically what we do. But now we are moving to a different direction. We want to invite all the partners and other collaborators here in the Coachella Valley, private donors, to join this effort and to bring more opportunity, more investment, more resources to those communities. And we know that the Coachella Valley is a very cohesive environment where people definitely try to help each other. And that's what this presentation is all about. Presenting to the City Council the opportunity so we can partner and we can bring additional investment. Those farm workers communities provide over $600 million in agriculture a year and sustain the local food system and the economy for the local and regional areas. We have definitely leveraged today over $15 million in a combination of grants, combination of advocacy efforts to kind of negotiate funding and investment, relocation of funding from the state, federal governments. We work really close with elected officials to actually make that a reality. And with that, I want to just to, again, thanks for your extending the invitation to Pueblo Unido. We want basically raise awareness about the importance to provide support to those families that are highly productive. And we look forward to definitely establishing working relationship with the council, with the city of Rancho Mirage. So together we can actually offer better quality of life for the families living in the Eastern Coachella Valley. And with that, if anybody have any question, I will be more than happy to answer anything.
Well, thank you very much for coming today. And even though what you're presenting today and what you're talking about primarily it involves the eastern part of the valley.
Correct.
I think we all feel that we're connected in some way.
Right.
The fact that we're on the western side, that we're not impacted to the degree of your explanation here and what you're showing. Yet on the other hand, as I say, we're all connected in some way, and we all have a responsibility to provide for each other. So thank you very much for coming. Thank you for your presentation and making us that much more aware of how other people are suffering during this time. Thank you kindly.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
And thank you, everyone.
Yes.
Could you appoint, along with our city manager, a committee to see if there is some contribution that we can make to this organization?
So we did, staff did meet and encourage them to apply through the SAF program. And that will be coming to the city council for confirmation at your next meeting. And so I do know the organization was recommended for funding to the council. Follow up with the council. I know staff was impressed with the presentation and the work you guys are doing. So I want to thank you for taking the time to be here. I know you have an open house tomorrow, right? So I don't think the audience will be able to see this. But their open house is tomorrow at your La Quinta location. It's at 4 p.m. And again, another way to raise awareness about the needs here in the Valley. So thank you guys for being here and everything you do.
Thank you.
Thank you again.
Good luck.
The next item on our agenda is the non-agenda public comments. This is a time for the public to speak for 3 minutes on any subject that is not on the agenda for today. And I will ask Christy if you're holding any cards for people that would like to address the council.
Before Christy gets to the speaker cards, if our remote audience would like to make a non-agenda public comment, now's the time to do so. You would hit the raise hand button on Zoom or *9 on your telephone, and we will do our in-person audience before we go to our remote audience. Christy?
Dr. Joan Rubain.
Good afternoon, members of the City Council and Mayor Weil. I'm happy to be here addressing the City Council as we begin International Classical Concert's 17th year, 17 years at the Rancho Mirage Library. It was over 17 years ago that by invitation, we sat down with Council Member Ron Mipos and the members of the Council to discuss starting a chamber music series at the library. And now, 17 years later, our members are still excited about each coming season. I think it is not only about the concerts, but about shopping beforehand and perhaps having dinner in Rancho Mirage afterwards. It's all good for our economy. And it all adds up to around 19,000 people over the 17 years at the library. A few years ago, we began providing complimentary tickets to schools and senior centers. The community recognized our efforts, and we were honored by the City of Palm Desert with what they called the Shiny Apple Award, which was followed by other philanthropic awards in subsequent years. This year, before sending out our announcements with the renewal invitations, we waited until the McCallum and other theaters announced their seasons and their requirements. We are doing exactly the same thing, which will be proof of vaccination and masks. Judging from the response, we expect to be filled up as usual, and you can join us. We'd love you to join us for a concert or two. This year, we have a great roster of well-known artists, from the gold medal winner of the Van Cliburn International Piano Competition to the first $100,000 Carnegie Hall Prize winner and a 3-time Grammy Award winner. So we want to thank you again for your support. We are grateful for our blessings, the beautiful library where we make beautiful music, and we thank you all so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming today.
The next speaker is Carolyn Ahrens.
Good afternoon. It's a pleasure to be here, and I am honored that I have the opportunity to address a situation that has been a concern of mine lately. I appreciate the fact that the city has built bike lanes for the bikers, and they've been a big help. However, the one on Duval does not continue all the way to Frank Sinatra. Therefore, the walkways that we have a tendency to walk often, because we walk early in the morning many times, are constantly filled with bikers. And the problem we've been having is that they don't stop. As we're walking, they're behind us, and they're usually ringing their little bells, but they don't stop. And if we don't hear it, I've almost gotten run over twice. And one time I had said to this biker, we have the right of way. I did look it up, and we do have, the walkers have the right of way. He turned around and said to me, the F word. And I didn't appreciate that at all. And so I'm here just basically on behalf of extending that bike lane that you've already been kind enough to put into Duval. It just needs to be extended all the way, in my opinion, to Frank Sinatra, because the park's right there, and most of us walk to the park, cross over, and use the bike lane in that park, which is wonderful. So if you would consider that, I would be most grateful. And thank you for listening to me today. Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
The next speaker is Colleen Davis.
Hi, good afternoon. I too live in Casas de Seville on Duval, and I have two issues. One is I was under the impression that there was going to be some work done on the bridge on Frank Sinatra and Duval. So when we walk in the morning, you almost get killed if you want to make a right and go towards the 111. There's not enough sidewalk for us to stand on if you're more than 2 or 3 people. So I have a big concern about that, as well as the bridge. The vacant lot that's on the corner of Duval and Frank Sinatra, I'm assuming it's vacant because it looks vacant. It really is an eyesore when you have that beautiful park across the street. So I just wanted to raise concern that we're using the park. We love walking in the morning now that it's not 125 degrees, and we don't want to get ran over by a bike, and we want to make sure that we can cross the street. My second concern, which I'm real passionate about, is Spectrum Cable. I'm assuming you folks are on Next Door Neighbor. You live in communities that are sometimes HOA. Every person I've talked to in my informal survey pays a different price for cable. If you're in an HOA and you don't have 75% of your membership agreeing, you can't even get the group contract. If you are a person who doesn't live in an HOA, you absolutely have no negotiating power. I did some research. There's no senior citizen discount, and there's a lot of old people that live in Rancho Mirage. Hello? So I'd like to see Rancho Mirage. I feel like Aaron Brockovich. I want to see Rancho Mirage say to the cable company, hey, put it in our taxes. Put basic cable in our taxes. I think, and the internet. We learned in the pandemic, we had to have the internet to get our food, to shop, to check where we could go, where we couldn't go. I pay $214 a month for basic cable. And they'd say on my bill, in 6 months, the price will change. Call us back. My husband does for 3 hours. He sits on the phone with Spectrum, and he gets $5 off. So now we're at $192. It's more than our water bill. It's more than our gas bill. It's more than my electric bill. And it's almost as much as my HOA. So I'm asking you guys to be the Aaron Brockovich of the desert. Take on the cable company, I don't care which one it is, and get us a reasonable rate. We have no power. Thank you.
Let me just follow
Thank you.
that up slightly before you leave.
Okay.
I run out of four-letter words to describe our cable company.
Oh, I know a couple you don't know. I'm from Jersey.
Well, that's good. I'm always willing. As a matter of fact, I'd like to learn a couple new ones. My wife is awfully tired of hearing me say the same thing,
Yeah,
especially about this company.
right.
If I understand their billing correctly, and that's a hard thing to feel confident about, they pay in advance for the coming month
Correct.
of usage, and then if somehow you go over whatever that amount is, they tack it on next time, but you pay in advance. I don't know if that's common or not, probably not, but it's awfully irritating.
I think what's concerning, Dana, is that everybody pays a different amount. And I have friends I play Mahjong with who live in Cathedral Canyon. They pay 41. I know somebody at the Springs, they pay 61. Del Webb, they don't pay anything. Mission Hills, they're all different. And that's a lot of power for one company to be able to say, you know what? Today you're going to pay 50, tomorrow you pay 85, call you back in 6 months. I mean, who do they think they are? But who they are is they're in control of our information gateway. They're in control of everything we want to look up on the internet. I mean, I was on Great Plains. I think this is the best place to live in the whole wide world. I didn't get sick. I'm still not sick. So I think that this town just does a lot of amazing things. And I don't know, of the 19,000 people that are residents, how many are senior citizens, but at least give us a break. You get a break if you're poor. You get a break if you're on the meal program. You get a break if you're an Indian. In some cases, we get no breaks. It's like ridiculous. So take it on.
Well, taking them on is the issue as to how they're very well funded, as you know, and I'm sure that the tricks they use to bill in advance and to force you to pay very quickly when the bill, when it comes due. I don't know what the answers to those questions are, but
I think it would be a great
just stay
focus
in
group.
touch. Just stay in touch. If you find out or learn anything new, pass it on to me if you would.
I will. We're
And,
trying to get the contact information for the person who decides how much each HOA pays so that we can see if we can be on the list to
I
talk
mean,
to them.
it's an outrageous situation.
It's out, you can't even get through to that
the worst
department,
of
whatever
all.
department it is. And I don't know if you can go there in person. So that's my next place. But I'd be real grateful if you looked into that and fixed the bridge.
By the way, on the bridge thing, I don't know that we've made any public announcements on it yet. And I'm asking my city manager if he would like to.
Yeah, so the Frank Sinatra Bridge is still going through the environmental phase. Once we have the environmental document, that studies the various options, then that gets brought back to the council for a decision. So we're still in the planning phase of that project.
What about the park across the street that's vacant?
Are you talking about
Talking about the corner of Frank Sinatra and Duval.
on
There's an
the
empty
east
lot.
side of the street?
I don't know the east and the west.
Yes.
Okay? It's across the street from the nice park.
You can just
All
say
right?
yes.
There's like 4 rocks in one plant, that place.
Yeah. So that is just a desert
Eyesore.
lot. The city does maintain some desert scape in the front.
Can they make it as nice as the houses throughout Rancho Mirage that have the same kind of vacant lots? Because it really is, it's terrible. I mean, it's like we don't feel like we're on Duval, we don't care.
No, that's not an accurate statement. But at the same time, anytime you're going to disturb a natural area, there's a process that the city has to go through.
Okay,
You also have to consider the funding for it.
well, we're pretty good over here in Rancho Mirage. Maybe we can take a look at that. Just a couple more shrubs, a bench, a rock.
Yeah, I mean, a bench is going to be a place for people to go and possibly be a nuisance. So you don't want to attract use of a vacant lot.
No, but we do want to have the people in Rancho Mirage be able to sit down when they take a walk.
So that's what the Wolfson Park is for, which is literally across the street.
Okay.
And that is in the process of being expanded.
Yeah, I know, but,
So we don't want people on a vacant lot.
okay, so it's just going to stay like that, basically.
Yes.
Okay, great. Nice talking to you, Isaac.
Thank you.
The next speaker is Wally Melendez.
Good afternoon, City Council of Rancho Mirage. So, the pandemic is still on. The danger is not over. Many people in this building, well, let me say this first. I've had my 3rd booster shot, and I still wear a mask. A double mask everywhere I go. Many people in this building, looks like 98% sort of, are not wearing masks. The danger is not over. Not until we hear it from the CDC or from President Biden, something like that. Thank you. As has been mentioned, this valley, which used to be called the Cahuilla Valley, and the merchants turned it to the Coachella Valley, is pretty well interconnected, it seems like to me. And a lot of people move here for the weather. I hate the weather. And there's a college here, which I often talk about, the COD, College of the Desert, which turns out cooks and assistants, because they're just an associate degree college. This big desert area that somehow grew up through from the east, from the railroad in India, and from the west, from Hollywood, Palm Springs, is pretty well connected. There's the elite that have a lot of money, and there's also the poor people, the landscapers, that die young because they got to breathe all those insecticides and pesticides. They die young. They don't have the basic education. For example, a high school diploma. So, as I've often said, this place needs a 4-year college, like a Harvard, so people can be better citizens. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Sorry, that's the last speaker.
Before we go to our remote audience, is there anyone else in the audience that would like to make a non-agenda public that hasn't spoken yet? Okay, we'll go to our remote audience. Brad Anderson?
Hi, yes, Brad Anderson, City of Rancho Mirage. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to address the councilor and the public today. I wanted just to mention a few things. I noticed you had a presentation earlier, and just in the sync, I guess, just in for transparency reasons, I would love to know who I guess supported that. I know there's usually 2 council members, but I think City of Rancho Mirage, 1 council member, or the city staff can suggest a company or a nonprofit give some type of presentation, or anybody actually. So if that could be transparent, that would be great, and we know what city council members are supporting what groups, and or even city staff. And not that I'm against any of the presentations, but just for transparency's sake, and that's something that should be taken up at the prior city council meeting in a public forum. That would be great too. Anyway, just a high note. As the city is aware that the vector control has a trustee, the city manager, and that was appointed a city employee. And at the last meeting, they brought up GMO mosquitoes and releasing them in the valley, and they'd have a whole new abatement policy, and which they just made up. So anyway, if the city manager could comment on that, that'd be great. I think the city residents would love to hear about what's going on at that vector control district. And I guess that's about it. But the signs, I noticed somebody said the bikes are on the sidewalk, and I actually live in that area too. And the only thing you could do, people are just, people are people, and people, we're going to have more bike traffic coming from other cities through our city, and that's a given. And maybe signs dictating that the bikes are not allowed on sidewalks might be the only thing that we could do as a city, I think. And just to highlight, I gave up on cable TV about 12 years ago, and you can pull everything off the air. I get 20, 30 trainers, I think. So it's not necessary so anyway, and just think of the money I saved. And
All right, Mr. Mayor, that's all the non-agenda public comments we have.
Okay. And you're not holding any other cards, is that correct?
No, I have no more.
Thank you. That concludes the non-agenda public comments. We will now go to council comments, and I'll start with Richard.
Thank you, Mayor. And I know what a big football fan you are. Just wanted to let everybody know that tomorrow evening, on the grounds of Palm Desert High School, the Rattlers will be there to beat Palm Desert and go home with a winning season. So it's a great field over there. They'll have a good turnout. This is an opportunity for you to really go out and have a good time. I tell you, high school football is big time, and everybody enjoys it. So get out and have a good time tomorrow it's at the Palm Desert athletic field, and it starts at 7 o'clock. So get over there early. They have a great turnout, and go Rattlers.
Thanks, Richard. And this will be a challenging game. I know that Palm Desert is very strong, and they are favored as far as this game is concerned. But we know the Rattlers will do us proud.
Rattlers will prevail.
I hope so. Iris, do you have comments?
I do have comments, but I'd like to go last, please.
You'd like to go last?
I would.
Okay.
Thank you.
Charlie.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I will take a moment to say, on this day, October 21st, 10 years ago, Gordon Moeller was the mayor of our fair city and presided on this council. He passed away on this date, those many years ago, as mayor, and I will always remember him as our mayor and my husband of 42 years. He is missed by many friends who joined me on this day to pay tribute to him. So I just wanted to take a moment to say that he was remembered, and also along with many other wonderful people who have sat on this council, who have passed from us and gave their effort and their sincere love and time into this city and brought it to where it is today as we continue on with that legacy. So thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Charlie. Gordon was an incredible man. I had the privilege to know him, and Gordon encouraged me in 2012 to apply for the city council. We had a number of conversations together. He shared with me his vision for the city. He wanted to know what my thoughts were. He knew my background because I had served on the Planning Commission for 6 years prior to that time, and it was just very rewarding. Anybody that knew Gordon was touched and enriched by his gentleness, his kindness, and his demeanor. Charlie, like yourself, we all miss Gordon. Thank you for your kind comments. Dana, if you would, please.
Thank you. Speaking of Gordon Moeller, I always considered Gordon a very good friend. And some years ago, I had to go to Sacramento for something. And Gordon asked me if I wanted him to come along. And we'd be flying up, and I said, yeah, I'd love to have company up there. I was going to be testifying on one of the assembly committees. I said, I'd love to have you come up. So we got our airplane tickets. We were over at the airport, Ontario Airport. And we are waiting we're seated against the wall. And I and this very youthful, attractive blonde she's walking toward us down the hall. And I'm sure my wife would forgive me for saying that I glanced at this very attractive lady and kind of followed her as she walked past Gordon and me where we were seated with our backs up against the wall. And she finally passes, and I look and I notice that Gordon didn't turn his head at all. He had been looking straight ahead. And I said, Gordon, I don't care how gay you may be, but how could you not look at that very attractive lady that just walked by? See, it's not possible. He says, oh, that's nothing. What are you talking about? He said, I was zeroed in, but I wasn't zeroed in there. Look straight across the hall here and tell me what you see. I said, some young guy in a uniform. He said, that's where I was staring. Anyway, Gordon Moeller is one of the finest people to ever be on the city council and one of the finest people I have ever known.
Well, Dana, he never wavered. He was very adamant in his preference. Though he loved women, we had many women friends in our life and still do today, Robert and I. And that's just the way the ball bounces. But God bless you for what's in your little neck of the woods. Thank you, Dana.
Thank you.
All right, Iris?
Well, You know, we all have very fond memories of Gordon. It's just hard to believe that it's been 10 years. And I had the pleasure, we've all been to so many events with both Charlie and Gordon and celebrated so many wonderful things. And whenever he was in his office, I would walk in and walk over and give him a kiss on the forehead and say, hi again, handsome. And it's always good to see you. I hope you'll be here forever. So,
Thank you, Iris.
yeah. He was greatly missed by everyone,
Thank you.
and especially you.
Thank you.
You want to continue with your council comments, Iris?
Is everyone finished?
Yes.
Okay. Sure, I would love to. Because everyone knows the phrase, better late than never. And today epitomizes that phrase. Because in 2020, that infamous year that we're all happy to see behind us, I had the pleasure of serving as mayor of our great city. And March or April is when we normally hold our State of the City luncheon to tell the public of all of the great and wonderful things the city of Rancho Mirage has accomplished. But unfortunately, because of the pandemic, that event never took place. But in planning for the event, I decided to make a celebration and make it a luncheon in honor of our directors, especially since I'm always singing the praises of all of our directors and their staff members. So, as I said, better late than never, and today I would like to take a few minutes to introduce some of our directors and present them with a little gift from me personally. Because this gift has been sitting in a box on the shelf for the last 19 months. So today is the big day. And many people do not know who our directors are or exactly what they do. So much of what they do is behind the scenes, and part of what I'd like to say is giving some information about the jobs they have. And I would like to start with Kofi Antebaum, who is our Administrative Services Director. Kofi and the Administrative Services team are responsible for the city's financial management, including human resources, contracts, and working with the Special Assistance Fund Committee, of which I am very proud to be a part. Kofi ensures that each year a timely, balanced budget and transparent financial statements are presented. He also makes sure that policies and procedures related to a safe and healthy working environment are in place and are always adhered to. Kofi and his team are truly the oil that keeps all of the city departments running. The next person is Gabe Cotting, and Gabe is our marketing director. And Gabe and the marketing team recently presented a 4-year marketing master plan that will refresh our tourism brand. Okay, there he is. Okay, I was afraid we wouldn't get you on camera. Yes. Okay. 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 Just hold on just a second. And he is leading up to a very exciting celebration of the city's 50th anniversary, which will be a glorious celebration that will start in the summer of 2023. His incredible team was instrumental in the city's COVID pandemic response. They administered programs such as the Food Access Grants, Great Plates Delivered, and Small Business Support Grants. His team also manned the COVID hotline and maintained at the related website. In fact, everything accessible on the city's website is coordinated by his very talented team. In addition to this, Gabe does a remarkable job as the city's public information officer. and played a crucial part with our ANA Ladies Golf Tournament for several years. And now, he and his team are playing a huge part in coordinating events with our Speaker Series Commission. And his team also puts together our beautiful Rancho Mirage magazine, which residents receive in the mail and which is also distributed to important venues advertising our amazing city. Thank you, Gabe and Kofi. The next person is Aaron Espinoza, and he's sitting in our audience, and there he is. Aaron holds several key roles for the city of Rancho Mirage. In addition to being the director of the award-winning Rancho Mirage Library and Observatory, he is the executive director of the Rancho Mirage Library and Observatory Foundation and the Rancho Mirage Writers Festival, as well as the staff liaison to the city's Cultural Commission. Aaron and his team have continued to elevate the status and attributes of the Rancho Mirage Library and Observatory, and will no doubt help keep, for sure, the Rancho Mirage as the cultural center of the Coachella Valley. The next person to my left is Jeremy Glein, and Jeremy is our Development Services Director. Jeremy oversees the building, planning, and code compliance divisions. Jeremy has managed many very important and very significant projects for the city of Rancho Mirage, and he and his team brought forth the city's general plan update, the Section 31 specific plan, and he is also participating in the Highway 111 specific plan update, currently under development by our planning staff. And if you've ever worked with or consulted with the staff members of the planning department, you can see really firsthand how Jeremy fosters a collaborative and supportive environment across the entire department. Jeremy and his department's work and successes are admired throughout the desert, and we are so proud of their warm professionalism and dedication, led by their very dedicated director, Jeremy. And the next person is Jason Harige. And Jason's going to stick his there he is. Okay. Okay, Jason and his team, just stay there for a few minutes, ensure that the city of Rancho Mirage provides the highest quality technology-based services in the most cost-effective manner. Jason maintains the city's information systems in a secure environment capable of supporting advancements in technology. Needless to say, we are all very concerned with the protection of our personal information, and the city of Rancho Mirage is equally concerned and very protective. So just to give you a small example of the incredible responsibility of Jason and his staff, in the past 30 days alone, systems implemented by Jason's team have blocked over 4 million cyber attacks on our city. And just to make sure you understand what I said, 4 million cyber attacks just in the last 30 days alone. In fact, Jason has earned the reputation of managing one of the best information services divisions in the area, with agencies throughout the county frequently visiting our facilities just to tour our IT operations and to seek Jason's expertise. So to say that we are immensely grateful to Jason and his team as part of Rancho Mirage is the biggest understatement ever. And the next person I'd like to introduce is Ryan Stendell, who is our Public Works Director. Ryan oversees the engineering, facility maintenance, and street maintenance division. While many cities had their doors locked during this pandemic, the Public Works team of Rancho Mirage adapted very swiftly and efficiently to what became known as pandemic operations. As many of us know, the city engineer's efforts in a city like ours are endless. Ryan and the Public Works Department have completed numerous improvements throughout our parks and our library and observatory, and are preparing for major enhancements at Wolfson Park and our Fire Station 50. Our facilities and streets teams have hardly skipped a beat. They are currently doing our annual RIAZ slurring application on Frank Sinatra Drive. And you've probably seen all the cones lined up and all the cars backed up just a tiny bit, but this is something we take great pride in, and we're thrilled to be able to do it.
I think his duties also include vacant lots on Duval.
Vacant lots, okay. 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 And in the past 12 to 18 months, our Public Works Department has kept our city maintained at levels that make our neighbors wonder and ask, how does Rancho Mirage keep doing all these amazing things, along with providing the best quality of life possible? And the next person I would like to introduce is Christy Ramos. And let me just, Christy, down at the end here, is here at every one of our council meetings, and she is our city clerk. She does a little bit of everything and a lot of some things. Christy deals with the public with instructions for speaking at council meetings. She does the minutes from council meetings. She works with all the candidates running for council positions. She makes sure that official records are kept and important documents are filed. She does a lot of hand-holding for all of us. And what's really important is that her job is enormous, and she does it perfectly. So, the last but not least, certainly, is our city manager sitting next to me, Isaiah Hagerman. Isaiah oversees all of the departments that I've just mentioned. And with the assistance of the directors, he ensures the city is always well maintained, and the decisions of the city council are effectively and efficiently implemented. One of his most notable and remarkable contributions has been guiding the city council through the complex process of creating the Rancho Mirage Energy Authority and locally controlled energy provider, offering highly competitive rates with the added benefits of renewable content. Isaiah's responsibilities are vast, and the city benefits immensely from his talents and professionalism. And actually, Isaiah's duties and contributions are too numerous to mention, but I'll just mention a few things here. His input is everywhere regarding our COVID testing, our Great Plates program, our synchronized signals, our Writers Festival, our Children's Museum. He hires the best of the best staff members. He creates an admirable relationship with other cities and educational personnel, and he always has an open door policy. So, there's a few more things I can say about Isaiah, though. Isaiah is everywhere. He's meeting with everyone. He's talking to everyone. He's either in the hallway talking to people, or he's at their offices, or he's in his offices, or he's at lunch talking with people. He's very accomplished, and he has a great memory. He can be very serious, but he loves to laugh, and he's always and everyone adores him. His door is always open. Everyone is welcome for a meeting, for a quick hello, for a long hello, for a complaint, or for a compliment. He listens, and he loves hearing new ideas. And one of the nicest things is he always calls back day or night. One of the fun things is when he calls back, sometimes he's at home, or in his car, and you can usually hear little voices in the background, which are always sweet. He's always there for all of us. He has great relationships, as I say, with other city officials, with our school systems, and he's always very accommodating and anxious to hear anything you want to say. So thank you, Isaiah. And with all that, I would like to invite all of our directors and Christy to come down in front, because I have a little presentation I want to make.
Okay. Iris, if I may, before you go down, I would like to make a clarification on Jason coming out of the closet. He is a straight man with a family and children. Just wanted to clarify that he did not come out of the closet today. Couldn't help it.
Okay, well, I'm on my way. Isn't this a handsome group?
No, just a joke.
Okay.
Okay, so I have one microphone, and Christy has the other microphone. And behind this little drape, whoop. Thank you. These are some of the things that have been in the beautiful boxes on our shelves waiting to be presented. And first of all, Jason is right here, so let me give this to you. It says, Jason Harige, thank you for your outstanding dedication and service to the City of Rancho Mirage. Mayor Iris Smotrich, March 26, 2020. And maybe you'd like to say a few words.
Thank you very much. October is an important month. It's Security Awareness Month. So since I had the mic, make sure you guys change your passwords. Don't use the same passwords on every site you go. And stay secure.
Thank you, Jason. And because these are personal gifts from me, I give you all my personal welcome to say anything you want. Okay, so here we have Gabe Cotting, our valuable Gabe, and it says basically the same thing, that we thank you for your outstanding work and your service to Rancho Mirage.
It's a great honor. Thank you.
Wait, let me.
It's a great honor. It's awesome.
We need our technical.
IT to rescue.
Okay.
Thank you for the thoughtful gift, and thank you for, it's an honor to serve. Thank you.
Thank you. Gabe has just been an amazing addition to our city, and as I say, he had a lot of experience through the years with the ladies golf tournament, and he made all the good things happen that everyone experienced when they attended the event. And here is Kofi. Okay, Kofi, please say a few words. And
Well, thank you. Thank you, Iris, for this. You know, what we do, we can't accomplish it without our staff. So even though we are being honored here, the work is really done by the staff. So thank you. And we want to thank everybody, staff-wise, for supporting us in doing what we are doing. Thanks, Iris.
thank you, Kofi, and your staff. And here is Jeremy Gleim.
Thank you so much, and thank you for the kind words. And just want to thank everybody, my peers and staff, and elected and appointed officials for all the support over the years. So thank you.
You're welcome. And next is Christy Ramos, our Girl Friday. And that may be a term that most of you don't know, but when I was growing up, many moon ago, that was a very common phrase, because a Girl Friday did everything. And Christy does everything beautifully. So, say a few words.
Well, I just want to thank you for the recognition, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to be the Rancho Mirage City Clerk, work with a great council, staff, and a lot of great residents. Thank you.
And here is Aaron Espinoza from our beautiful library and observatory.
Well, again, as everyone has said, thank you. Thank you to the city. It really is an honor to be able to be the director of the Rancho Mirage Library and Observatory. It's one of the best jobs in the world. So thank you guys, and thank to the staff and our incredible team.
And if I can do Isaiah Hagerman. Oh, you okay? Okay, we'll have him say a few words, and here's a little something for you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Iris. You know, it's nice to recognize this group right here. They get tasked with a lot. And those that couldn't be in this chamber, all the other city staff, we have a great group here. They're very dedicated to the city. I want to take a second to thank the whole city council for everything you do to support staff. And really, if you've ever had the opportunity to interact with one of our staff, we get a lot of compliments on their work, and so we wouldn't be successful without their hard work and dedication. So it definitely takes a team effort to get things done. That's from the council level down to the entry-level staff positions that we have. And we have a very dedicated group here, and this group is some of our best. So thank you guys for everything you do for the city.
Thank you. And Ryan didn't get an award like that because he hasn't been with us that long, and he wasn't with us when the order was placed. But there's a little something special that I hope he will enjoy, and it's just a little something that I made. And I don't think you can ever go wrong with candy. I tried to include everything that was popular, and hopefully Ryan will enjoy all the assortments.
Don't be jealous.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for the opportunity. And as the newest member to the executive team, I'm truly grateful to be working with you, everybody in this room, and the staff that we have at City Hall. And I'm committed to earning everybody's trust on our journey. It's been a little over 6 months, and I've had a fantastic time. The second part of this is probably not wise, but as a past alumni of Palm Desert High School, go Aztecs.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. If we could just come down in front here and take our picture, have a little something for posterity.
For some reason, Kofi wants to see you after this meeting. I don't know why.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I think it's more than appropriate that the city council recognize our staff for everything that they do for us. And every one of them has a special niche in the city, and I want to thank all of them that have worked so hard over the years that we've all been here.
Absolutely, indeed. I would merely like to also comment that I want to congratulate the Emergency Preparedness Commission on the event that they staged 2 Saturdays ago on October 7th at the community park, at the library. They just did a terrific job. CAL FIRE was represented. Our emergency preparedness did yeoman work, Brian Kiphart who heads up our code enforcement was there, along with a CERT trailer. It was just a splendid day, work very well done. Mary Lou Suter, who was chairman of that commission, was terrific. So I congratulate everyone that participated on that day. Thank you so much. Just a great job. We'll now move on to the city manager comments. If you would, Isaiah.
None today. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
All right. The next will be the minutes of October 7th of the regular meeting. Does anybody have any corrections, changes, additions, or subtractions?
For a motion to approve.
All right. There's a motion to approve. Did I hear a second?
You did.
All right. If you will vote, please.
Motion carries 5-0.
Okay. The next item will be the consent calendar, and that will be handled by our city manager, Isaiah Hagerman.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Members of the council, you have 4 items on your consent calendar for consideration. Item number 1 is to waive the full reading of all ordinances introduced or adopted pursuant to this agenda. Item number 2 is to adopt ordinance number 1189, second reading, amending chapter 17.30, standards for specific land uses of Title 17 zoning of the Rancho Mirage Municipal Code to prohibit short-term rentals throughout the city, and repealing Chapter 3.25 short-term rentals of Title III Revenue and Finance. Item number 3 are contracts, and item number 4 are demands. We will open up the public comment period on the consent calendar now. So if you would like to speak on one of the 4 items, including the short-term rental ordinance, now is the time to do so. If you are participating remotely, you would hit the raised hand button or *9 on your telephone. And Christy, can you go to our speaker cards?
First is Gail Friedman.
Hello. I have to say, it's nice to have a different perspective of the city council. I appreciate that because when I was here last time talking about short-term rentals, and we had such a great a bunch of people here supporting not to have you guys cancel short-term rentals due to the abundance proof of employment and also financial benefits to Rancho Mirage, not just Rancho Mirage, but the whole Coachella Valley. It felt like it was to deaf ears. You guys already had your votes all set up. It was like, what's the point? And then again, I'm here again, and I'm thinking, why am I here again? But I think it's important. You guys seem like you're open-minded, that you don't want to deal with a political basis, because a lot of us do feel it's because the hotels are probably pushing you guys for whatever financial reasons to make sure short-term rentals end. It's not because of transients, and also because if you guys have the ability to stop it in Rancho Mirage, you really legally don't have the right to stop it in a homeowners association. They have their own CC&Rs, they have their own rules. The appellate courts also push that. So no matter what you decide, it's going to be voted against, and there will be legal action taken, because you guys, especially you, the mayor, as well as you, Isaiah, you guys have great financial background. You've been in real estate. My gosh. I mean, how can you stop opportunity and with proof? I mean, I've only been a short-term rental owner since March. And in that time, I can tell you 4 people who have never been to this city have purchased homes. You cannot defy that this is an opportunity of growth for this city, for this whole area. whether it be COVID, whether it be whatever, but you have all these people from Los Angeles realizing this is the place they want to be. And that's because it's beautiful. It's because your efforts and your heart into this city, how you can defy that is beyond imagination. I can't even believe that you guys would all unanimously vote against short-term rentals when it's all about this city and it's benefiting our city. I appreciate your time with letting me speak again, and I really hope you reconsider.
Thank you. Thank you for your comments.
The next speaker is Mike Ziskind.
Good afternoon, Mayor and council members. I'm Mike Ziskin. I live at 25 Sierra Vista Drive. I'm a full-time resident. I'm also chairman of Neighborhoods of Rancho Mirage. Vacation rentals destroy our quiet enjoyment and the neighborhood vibe that we've come here to enjoy. They contribute nothing to our world-class brand. This experiment to benefit a few investors is a failure. For more than a decade, you guys tried, but investors continued to dump their problems onto the city's doorstep. Staff and taxpayers were forced to babysit these properties, suffer the disturbances, and pay for all the solutions. Most investors aren't our neighbors. They don't live here. They're not bothered by the revolving door of unvetted strangers close to our kids and grandkids, here to have an unsupervised good time, because real hotels do not tolerate the antisocial behavior that has been documented at some short-term rentals. So you might ask, why do we support a total ban? In Tamarisk, a lovely, older, iconic neighborhood, one investor created an HOA with 7 large properties right next door to each other and is marketing them on VRBO as a 3-day rental. Quote, coming soon. I can't make this up. So that means every 3 days, 37 cars and 74 unsupervised adults could show up in this quiet neighborhood. Whose neighborhood is going to be next? The arrogance of this entitled industry to thwart our laws and exploit these loopholes is, well, stunning. If investors here in Rancho Mirage are unwilling to rent long-term, there are other valley cities that welcome short-term rentals. But to be clear, we in Rancho Mirage consider our neighborhoods to be an irreplaceable asset. They're not ATM machines. And so we're grateful to this council, to all of you, for putting us residents first, for preserving our neighborhoods, and for having the guts to push back on what I consider a petulant industry. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments.
The next speaker is Brad Anderson.
Oh, I can't follow that. Oh, no. My name is Brad Anderson. I live on Ferber Drive in the city of Rancho Mirage. And I just wanted to, I know this is, what do you call it, consent counter is just a procedure thing that you do. And really, if you wanted to stop this now, it would have stopped. But I'm opposed to this just because of the private property aspect of it, because you've taken something that I could possibly do away from me. And that's my issue. I understand people that live, I have a business that been established in my neighborhood next door to me for over 10 years. And it's torture. So I can relate to that. But again, I wouldn't be able to do what my neighbors are doing, so they have input with the city council members and city staff. So maybe this will continue anyway on certain neighborhoods. But anyway, I'm opposed to it as written, and I just rushed over here. So anyway, I'm done with that. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments.
That was the last speaker card.
Is there anyone here in person that didn't fill out a speaker card that wishes to speak on the consent calendar, which includes the short-term rentals? All right, we will go to our remote audience. If our remote audience would like to speak on the short-term rental item or any of the other consent calendar items, now's the time to do so. You would hit the raise hand button or *9 on your telephone. Okay, we have no one that has indicated they wish to speak, so I'll return this to the council, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Are there any council comments regarding the consent calendar?
Yeah, I would.
Dana?
Thank you. I would like to thank the gentleman who spoke a moment ago with the yellow shirt. What is your name, sir?
Mike.
Mike. I'd like to thank you, Mike, for a very realistic phrase that describes the situation perfectly. Our residential communities are, quote, irreplaceable assets, end quote, and they should not be commercially taken away from the individuals. Individuals can go to a hotel. That was a great statement that you made, and I want to remember it a long time. It's an irreplaceable asset, our community. And the more you let in commercials, businesses, the quicker you're going to lose that special edge that Rancho Mirage has always had until the onslaught of these kinds of assets. Anyway, irreplaceable asset. Great phrase. Thank you.
Thank you. Dana, are there any other council comments?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Richard.
Just wanted to respond to one of the comments that was made today concerning the council prejudging these elements before they come before for the vote. I can assure you that every one of these council individuals has spent hours and hours reading the staff report, looking at their own opportunities and looking at things that are unique to our city that are not part of the rest of the valley. I think it's really important to understand that all of us as councilmen, women, spend an awful lot of time just reviewing what's best for the city of Rancho Mirage. And as I voted last time, it's really the quality of life that we all support, and we will continue to do so in the future. And we do not have preconceived ideas coming into elections. We realize what is best for the city, and we vote accordingly. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, if I may, I'd also like to bring forward that this decision has taken over a 10-year look at what we have gone through in studying this whole program. So for anybody to say it was done overnight or that we don't give it any thought, let me remind you again, this started 10 years ago as we looked at it, massaged it, tried to work with everybody in the STRs, and looking at the whole program at both sides. As I said before, my last statement at the last council meeting, you have to look at both sides, and the decision is for the people and by the people. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, we did have somebody raise their hand late. Stephanie, go ahead and make your public comment.
Oh, thank you so much, Councilman and Mayor. This is Stephanie Stelnick again. I spoke at the last meeting, and I understand that you guys are confirming that you guys did your research and this has been for 10 years, but in an argument against that last year, you guys were in full support of the short-term rentals, as it was a really great avenue for people to go to for the pandemic versus wanting to stay in a hotel. And so that, for some reason, we're not understanding why there was a 360-degree switch from not even a year ago to today. And as I stated last time, the city attorney's analysis, there was a ruling from the California Appellate Court that upheld short-term rentals.
and it's considered a taking for people that are already using their residence as a short-term rental. And to have the grandfathering in to stop us in June 2022, it's going to result in litigation because of that California appellate ruling. So I don't know how that keeps being missed by the city attorney's office or by this council by giving this information that might not be correct, because that was just upheld now a month ago. So before the last meeting was 2 weeks ago. So I just think it's in everyone's best interest not to rush to do a 360-degree flip without considering what the laws are and how it affects the city of Rancho Mirage, because now unnecessary funds are going to be spent to defend against litigation to uphold the California appellate court's ruling versus what's going on now. And I know that everyone's using the Cathedral City. I don't know what they're going to do with the new ruling that just happened. And you guys are not allowing the HOAs to regulate. I know Rancho Las Palmas, that HOA regulates all the short-term rentals. That's why there's no bad eggs. We're all community. We all work together. We all communicate with each other. And when one of the owners wants to come and stay at their house, they reach out to another person that has the availability. So the short-term rental family has become a family, especially in Rancho Las Palmas, and we rely on one another and the security gate to work with us. And I just think that you can't say that this has been researched for 10 years when you just changed your mind last year. So that's the kind of grievance that we all have in the community. And I just think you're not keeping up with the times and where the world is going post-pandemic. So I appreciate you giving me the chance to speak. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. All right, that's it, Mr. Mayor. Back to the council. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anybody else have any other comments?
I'm sorry, someone in the audience just raised their hand. Sir, please come forward and state your name.
I've been a resident in Rancho Mirage for over 15 years. My family's had a secondary third home in the valley since 1960.
Excuse me, could you state your name, please?
Oh, my name's Randy. Thank you.
And your last name?
Williams. Thank you. And my parents were the first homeowners, I'm sorry to say it, of Palm Valley, and then also the first homeowners out at PGA West. I just want to say this is a great city. Everybody up here has done a great job. It's a privilege to live here. I know we have a lot of controversy. I live at Rancho Las Palmas. I've been there 15 years. I kind of disagree with the woman who was just speaking. I owned two businesses here for over 30 years. I sold one of them to the CFO of Coachella, Stagecoach Music Festivals, which has impacted this whole valley with what we're talking about in short-term rentals. I see it firsthand, and I really don't think our HOA really regulates the short-term problems that we have here, because this is where I live. This is my residence. I'm sure all of you may object to sometimes things going beyond certain hours and with people intruding in your privacy, et cetera, that don't live here. But I appreciate everybody who's contributes to make this city a great city. Sorry about your loss. I mean, I met him years ago, and but I just want to say, keep up the good work. I work in sports. Play hardball. Let's not play softball. Let's protect our citizens here, because this is a great city. Let's continue to keep it that way. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. You're welcome. I will merely make a comment that what this council tries to do on all issues, whether it be short-term rentals or anything else, is to take into consideration the quality of life. That basically touches every aspect of decisions that come before this council. How it will affect the majority of our residents in Rancho Mirage. And when I say majority of our residents, that's what we have to consider each and every time. Many times there will be a nucleus, a small nucleus or a vocal minority that will take a position on one subject or another. But we have to look beyond that, and we have to look at the greater good. What is the greater good for the entire city of Rancho Mirage? And I maintain that we do have a great city, and our obligation here is to keep it that way. With that, I will ask for a motion to approve the consent calendar.
I will make that motion to approve the consent calendar as read.
Second the motion.
There is a motion and a second. Please vote.
Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you. The next item on the action calendar will be presented to us by Sonia Cooley, Deputy Fire Marshal, regarding the receipt and a report made by the Fire Chief of Riverside County.
Mayor, council members, and awesome city staff. I'm here to report to you that in 2018, Senate Bill 1205 amended the California Health and Safety Code and required all fire departments to provide an annual report for certain fire and life safety inspections. Those occupancies are public and private schools, hotels, motels, lodging houses, apartment houses, and certain residential care. I am here to inform you that we have performed those in the beautiful city of Rancho Mirage this year, and we started our next year. I'm available for any questions.
Great. You do a great job. We really appreciate everything all of you do.
Thank you. We appreciate you.
Thank you also.
Thank you.
I made comments yesterday at the Cove Commission meeting how proud we are of CAL FIRE and the job that you do. And we regularly get compliments from our residents as to both your responsiveness as well as your caring attitude and performance. And we can't thank you enough because, again, you're merely an extension of us up here, and it is a team. And the impression that you convey to our residents is one of just very positive manner. So again, we thank you so much.
I truly appreciate that. We love what we do and we love who we work for. And the city of Rancho Mirage is a blessing to all of us. Thank you. Have a good afternoon.
We're proud to have you here. With that, is there any public comments that we have?
Of compliance with California Health and Safety Code sections 13146.2 and .3. Now is the time to do so. If you are participating remotely, you would hit the raise hand button or *9 on your telephone. Christy, do we have any speaker cards?
We do not.
That wants to speak on this item? Okay. And there's no one on our remote audience either, so we'll close the public comment period, and I'll return this to you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Isaiah. With that, I will ask for a motion on resolution number 2021, acknowledging receipt of a report made by the fire. Hear a motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
A motion and do I hear a second? And there is a second. Please vote.
Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you. The next item is a resolution regarding the findings pursuant to Assembly Bill 361, and that will be handled by our learned and famed City Council, Steve Quintanilla.
Oh, what a surprise. I didn't think that was about me. Well, as we all know up here, and a lot of members of the public know, our meetings that we conduct here at the city, whether it's city council or whether it's our commission meetings, they're conducted pursuant to these rules and procedures that are set forth in state law that we know as the Brown Act, the Ralph M. Brown Act. And so the Brown Act allows the cities, city councils, and commissions to hold teleconference meetings. And under the regular rules of the Brown Act, there are certain provisions that dictate, how we notice these meetings. We have to allow that the remote locations where people are participating remotely be open to the public. We have to post agendas at those remote locations. And there's all these other rules that come into play when we want to conduct a teleconference meeting. A teleconference meeting is simply a meeting where we have one or several council members who are participating remotely for whatever reasons. We've had this we had teleconference meetings, and we had an individual council member in the hospital. And I had to inform them, got to keep that door open because we had to allow people to come in if they want to comment. Well, back in March 2020, the governor declared a state of emergency for the COVID pandemic. And when he declared that emergency, he also adopted an executive order. And that executive order basically suspended a lot of these provisions that apply to situations where we want to do a teleconference meeting. So under this executive order, we're no longer required to open that remote location for public access. We're no longer required to post agendas. We're no longer required to have at least a majority of our council or commission present within the city of Rancho Mirage. And the reason why those were suspended was just to make it a lot easier for cities across the state and boards, board of directors, school boards, water boards, to easily put together these remote meetings that will remove a lot of those barriers. And so that was scheduled to expire at the end of September of this year. And what was it meaning that the old rules of the Brown Act would apply, and we'd have to comply with all of those provisions? Well, there was an assembly bill that was introduced, and it actually came from the special districts, and there was some concern that over this this Delta variant, that it probably was not the safest thing to do to go back to having these physical in-person meetings. And so this assembly bill, which was assigned by the governor, basically reinstated that, well, stated that the rules that were suspended under the executive order would continue. However, if we want to continue to conduct remote meetings, and we're not doing one here with our council here, but we have some participating remotely, if we want to continue doing them after September 16th, we are allowed to do it as long as we had some policy that encouraged social distancing, which we do currently have in place. And there is a determination made by the city that we have concerns about the safety of having in-person meetings. And so once we had that first meeting, which we had our first AB 361 meeting, the last meeting,
Yes.
the law requires that within 30 days after that first meeting, we have to adopt a resolution. City Council has to adopt a resolution that basically declares and finds that we still believe it is not entirely safe to have in-person meetings, and that we do have a policy that encourages social distancing. And so those are two findings that we have set forth in this resolution that we're asking the City Council to consider. So to the extent that the City Council wants to continue having remote meetings, and it doesn't necessarily mean just remote, meaning one of you are going to participate remotely, we could have these remote meetings where we have the public participate remotely. So if we still want to allow the public to participate remotely, or one of you, several of you to participate remotely, you have to adopt this AB 361 resolution. And if you adopt this, this applies across the board to all your commissions and all your different boards of the affiliated agencies, such as the Housing Authority, Library and Observatory Authority, and our successor agencies. So, any questions?
Steve, I have a question. What's the lifeline of this?
The legislation expires in January 1st, 2024. In 2024.
And at any time between that, from now to 24, can we change this, or do we have to stay with it? In other words, it's out there till 24.
You can change it if you want.
Thank you.
Yeah, so we're not required, if you adopt this resolution, you are not required to have remote meetings.
Right, and if we want to continue remote meetings, we have to bring this back every 30 days, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And this does not go across the board to any of our commissions?
Oh, yeah, it does.
Let's talk about that.
It does. So this resolution is a joint resolution amongst all your different boards that the City Council serves on. And so that allows all the boards of the City Council to hold remote meetings, but it also authorizes your commissions to also conduct remote meetings.
Very good. Who makes a decision on the commissions to hold them virtual or in person? Have we got that answer?
So right now, the city policy is that all commission meetings are done remotely. And really what this item is about is respecting one's ability to make their own health decisions. I think what we've seen through the pandemic is there are sometimes someone faces a unique health situation that makes them more susceptible to COVID, and other times maybe an individual not so much. So what this will enable the city to do is to continue to allow either council members or a member of the public, if they feel a little safer at home or they don't want to come into this room, to still participate in a public meeting if they want to. So it's really allowing people to choose to be here in person or to participate remotely, depending on what their personal preference is.
Thank you.
Isaiah, do we have any public comments from anybody?
If any member of the public would like to speak on this item, now is the time to do so. If you're participating remotely, you would hit the raise hand button or *9 on your telephone. Christy, do we have any speaker cards?
No, we do not.
Any member of the audience wish to speak on this item? Come forward.
I'm sorry, we do have one.
Oh.
Brad Anderson.
That happens a lot. Hi, Brad Anderson. I live on Ferber Drive in the city of Rancho Mirage. There's so many issues with this AB 361. I understand it's not you guys' fault and you want to go ahead and pass your resolution just so you can use it. But my understanding was the commissions and other boards, I guess, the city commissions, I thought that board would have control over that aspect of AB 361 and not the city council. But I don't know. I never thought of that. I mean, one of the aspects of AB 361, well, I think it's getting muttered. I don't think AB 61 would have to be in effect for the public to participate remotely. I think that's something the city council could do. I may be wrong on that. My legal ease is probably comparable with the, sorry. Anyway, I just want the special districts of California rushed this through. I didn't even know anything about it, and I kind of keep on this stuff. And all of a sudden, the governor signed it into order on the day he had to, October 1st, I believe. And it really accomplishes, it allows the city council, not the city council, but elected officials to not personally be approachable by the public. And that could be a number of things. And we had that issue with the city council earlier where the mayor was attending a couple events, but he wouldn't come to City Hall. And I know it's probably a group thing, but the mayor could have been here by himself if he felt comfortable doing that. And even the social distancing that we have in here is lackluster. But again, that whole social distancing thing's kind of been debunked. And I just want to emphasize, I say that a lot, but this AB 361, it originated in, I believe, February 2nd of 2020. So a month before the governor even signed this mandates for his, whatever that is, for the remote meetings. Again, we're taking rights away from people. We're taking the Brown Act. We're suspending for 2 years more, 3 years, 4 years total. A good law. I mean, yes, the city, I mean, even the quorum thing's an issue. All these council members could be out of the country and conduct this meeting if they wanted to with this law. And so I'm against it. Even the live streaming events, I don't think you're live streaming today, but then you have to participate remotely to do that. And I think it's a good thing for the public to participate. But again, I don't think it's AB 361's intention for that. It's intention to, well, anyway, I think if it pertains to this, we have to have officials that are approachable by the public, and that's all there is. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else wish to speak on this item? All right, seeing no one on our audience, Mr. Mayor, I'll turn this over to you and the council.
All right. I will say this from a personal standpoint. I think that what has occurred as a result of the remote availability for our meetings is that there is much more participation by the public. We have far more people that have the ability now to both listen and partake in our meetings than we did previously. I think it's expanded our audience. It has given more people an opportunity to convey their thoughts, and I personally think it's, it's a benefit. It's one of the blessings that candidly came out of the pandemic. We certainly hope we never have to get another blessing in this manner, but I think this is a byproduct that is a benefit and should be retained. Are there any other comments that anybody would like to make? If not, I will ask for a motion regarding.
All right, I will make that motion. I move that the City Council and Board of Directors of the City of Rancho Mirage Housing Authority, Rancho Mirage Library and Observatory, City of Rancho Mirage Community Services District, and City of Rancho Mirage Joint Powers Financing Authority jointly adopt joint resolution number, next in order, making findings pursuant to Assembly Bill 361 and authorizing continued remote teleconference meetings of the City Council and affiliated agencies and all other city-affiliated Brown Act bodies in accordance with AB 361 during the current state of emergency related to the COVID-19 pandemic.
I'll second that motion.
There is a motion and a second. Please vote.
Motion carries 5-0.
And I'm pleased about that. I hope that the number of people that are watching today will continue to participate and or be here in person. It allows you to have that option should you so desire. So that has passed. We are now going to be recessing into closed session, and our city attorney will give us the agenda for the closed session. Steve, if you would, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. City Council is now going to recess into closed session pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.9D1, and that's regarding existing litigation known as Vacation Rental Owners and Neighbors of Rancho Mirage, RM Vacation Rentals, LLC et al. Versus City of Rancho Mirage et al. And the council will confer with this labor negotiator, the city manager, Isaiah Hagerman, pursuant to Government Code Section 54957.6A, regarding the Rancho Mirage Employees Association Memorandum of Understanding. And finally, the council will be conferring with legal counsel pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.9D4 regarding 5 potential initiation of litigation items.
And we do have one speaker card.
Okay, we have one person that would like to speak on the closed session items, if you would, please.
Brad Anderson.
Thank you again, Brad Anderson, City of Rancho Mirage. I'll just go through the 1, 2, and 3 items very quickly. Of course, the first one is the litigation with the vacation rental owners and other parties. It's too long. But anyway, like I said, it's the last meeting. I'll probably end up doing this every time. Please just go ahead and speed through that. Put it behind us, put it behind the city. Yes, you'll probably have to pay something, but the city has a reserve for that, I guess. And number 2, negotiations with the city manager and the union that was established for the employees, or some of the employees. Please give them the benefit package and let them move on and not have to worry about this any further. Not that they're probably worrying, but it eases everybody's mind when you know you're firm in your job and commitment to the city. That'd be great. And number 3, this is a whole new item, I guess. You have 5 potential cases for litigation, and that's probably going to increase. Hopefully we don't spend too much money on other attorney firms to handle these, because we have one now. So, and this is a great chamber to have meetings. I'm sure a lot of commissions could have the meetings here too. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. We will now recess into closed session.
It's 4:27, and the city council took no reportable action in closed session. This meeting is adjourned.